Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a requested video. We will be working with Stabilo Woodys today, and I'm going to create a page in this traveler's art journal. It's a mini version of a traveler's notebook, and I will link up the video tutorial for this in the video description. And this is one of the inserts, and there are already, I believe, 1 or 2 pages filled, maybe just this one and the first one with the color on it. And I will make a spread today, and I will use this jelly print because I really love the colors, especially this area where I have some green and that burnt sienna with the turquoise. I will also use some old book paper and the Stabilo Woodys, and that's I think these are things that a lot of people have at home. Maybe not the jelly print, but any kind of colorful paper. That might also be a paper that you just have hand painted with acrylic paint, or a design paper from a paper pad, or book paper, and the Stabilo Woodys. If you don't have Stabilo Woodys, it is not a problem at all, as long as you have any kind of water-soluble crayons. And I think the most popular ones are the Neocolors, and for example the ones from Dino Weekly, and there are several brands out there at the moment, I think, and you can do the same technique with any of them, so this is not a problem. Just the Stabilo Woody video was a requested video from one of the last videos where I asked you what you like to see, and this is the reason why I'm using Woodys. I believe I will also use a Neocolor or two because I don't have that certain color I want to have in a Woody, so it's a little bit of a mix, but that technique is the same. I'm sticking down the papers with the Tombow glue stick, and I plan to cover the page with transparent gesso. This is what I like to do recently because I really love the texture it gives, and it's also a nice way to prime that little booklet. It's sewn in the middle, and with the gesso on it, it seals a little bit that sewing border or the stitching line in the middle. The gesso I am using is the one from PBO. I have never used any other gesso, so I can't compare it. I really love this one because it does not dry milky in any kind. It's really transparent, and the finish is quite rough. It's not as smooth as white gesso, but that means that it's perfect for all kinds of mediums to go on top, even distress inks. I only apply a thin layer. I'm using a scraper, and that dries also quite quickly. While the gesso was drying, I prepared that jelly print. I cut a circle from it that matches the double spread. And what I'm now going to do, I'm picking colors that I want to use on the background that are matching this design paper or this jelly print. And before I'm going to glue that down, I want to add some color to the page. And I'm using the Woodys, as I said in the beginning. I'm just sharpen them. To be honest, if you don't have any kind of these water-soluble crayons, I would always recommend not to buy the Stabilo Woodys. They are quite expensive, and they are not any better than the Neocolors. They don't come in such a big variety of shades as the Neocolors, and I believe it was the frugal crafter Lindsay. She compared the Neocolors to the Woodys, and I think material-wise you get less when you buy the Woodys compared to a Neocolor. I think the inside of the Woody ends quite far in the pencil, and there is a lot of wood around. And I'm not sure if the Woody is not a bit lighter than the Neocolor. Yeah. I think sometimes it's, if you have some good quality kids supplies, they are more expensive than artist supplies. So if you don't have any of these kind of materials and you want to get some, I would always recommend get Neocolors. You can buy them separately. You can buy a lot of different colors, and I think they are perfect, and also they are not as big as the Woodys. As I already have the Woodys, I'm going to use them. They are similar to me, just like the Neocolors, and I would definitely not let them sit forever in my cupboard. I have scribbled down the Neocolors, and now I'm coming in with a bit of water on my finger and blend that color in. I've picked the saffron from Neocolors because there is not such a color in the Woody range, and that is just matching that jelly print, and you can see it works similarly to the Woodys. And it's a fun way to create, I feel, dipping the fingers into water, blending the color. It's a really nice process. It's not very difficult, it's relaxing, and it's something that's quite fun. And you can use this technique for a lot of background things, for cards, for tags, artist trading cards, or like I'm doing here for art journal pages. I dried the crayons with my heat tool, and here I'm coming in with a stencil. It's our small ink dots stencil, and I'm removing some of the Woodys with a baby wipe. And what is nice, that they are always water soluble, they don't dry permanent, and you can just remove them in that way. By the way, the Faber-Castell gelatos are also similar to work with, and you can use them to make the same kind of background. I'm drying this again before I keep on working on the page. Before I'm going to add my circle with the jelly prints, I want to do some stamping. And I will focus on the outside of the page because the inside or the middle center will be covered with my design paper. And I'm using the number stamp from the Mix It Up stamp set with some black ink to bring in some contrast. And I'm stamping the image always more than just once to get different shades of the black. And I think that gives you some depth and interest. I also want to add some black splatters to make everything look a bit more blended together. I really like splatters, and if you know my channel, you know that I love them. And I'm going to use the Stabilo Woody for this technique. And you just use a brush with some water and wet the tip of the Woody, and then you can splatter it onto your project. And that's quite a nice way to add color splatters. I'm drying this again so we can adhere our design paper. When I place it on top, I wasn't sure if it is matching, and I thought I might want to add some pink because there is some pink on my paper. And I am going to use the Neocolor because I don't have any pink from the Woodys. And I'm using, I believe, a magenta from the Neocolors. And I will just add a little bit of color here and there. Well, it's not perfect because I have added these black splatters, which are water soluble, but I don't really mind that. And I think it was the right decision because that pink beneath that orangey color looks quite pretty. I will now adhere my paper. It's a little bit tricky because it goes over the fold of the page, but it will work out nicely in the end. I will also add a layer of clear gesso on top to make sure it adheres well. It's a bit difficult because we have the Woodys already on the page, and if you make something like a collage over a water-soluble background, it might end up in a mess, and you have to make sure to work quickly, not to apply too much of the collage medium or here of the gesso. And I'm starting just over the jelly print, which is waterproof, and then I'm just dragging the gesso out to the edges of the page, and I do not overwork it. I work quickly, and so I don't get a mess on the background. I let this dry completely, and now I'm coming in with the black woody to create kind of a border around our center circle to make this pop up from the background. And that is, I think, a quite important step to give the page a nice layout. I'm going to blend in that black woody with a brush into my center circle, and I think that looks quite nice. We have a lot of drying time in this spread, and while this is drying again, I'm going to stamp my focal image, which will be one of our sketchy birdies, and I'm stamping it to a jelly print with some pink and orange because that matches my page. I'm using Stays On, and I'm stamping on a foam pad so I make sure I get a good impression on that acrylic surface. I will cut out that bird and adhere it later to my spread. Before I'm going to adhere the birdie, I thought I want to add some mark making with the Woodys and the Neocolors. I really like them to create some marks on top of other stuff because they are quite opaque and they are also quite soft and give you a nice, how should I say it? They are quite intense and they go with lighter colors over a darker background. And that's really nice. I also decided to add a bit of that orangey crayon around the circle, that just gives me some more texture. I think the bird fits quite nicely because of the pink and a bit of orange. And I'm going to adhere this one, I believe, with a glue stick, and I will also create a sentiment on the left side of the page. I'm going to build a sentiment off camera because sometimes it takes a while to adhere everything and to pick the words out. And you will see it here with which sentiment I've ended or I finished up the page. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Yeah, and maybe you would like to watch some of the others, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye!